Good morning, and welcome to this edition of Straight Off the Bat. We're a live series that go every Thursday as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you're joining us from YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the community with Kelly Bute-Seaton. Kelly is the executive director of the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and she's in charge of a lot of activities. She's also the very first guest of this series, so we come a full circle. I think some of us, speaking for myself here, since we've done the first live show, I have some gray hair. So, things have happened over time. But Kelly is a seasoned professional with over 11 years experience in management and wealth of diverse exposure in strategic planning and corporate turnaround. So we're going to pull Kelly in because we want to squeeze as much information from her as possible for the next 60 minutes. Hi, Kelly. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me today, Pauline. Great job, by the way.
Thank you. And remember when we had just started this session, doing this live series, just kind of going back, how were you feeling about this live show and the information that we wanted to share with the audience?
Well, we knew we had so much information to share with the audience. Being a customer yourself within the financial sector, within the banking sector, there are a lot of unanswered questions, and we wanted to be the conduit to facilitate that sharing of information and exchange of information and try to help the customers. But of course, because we're now stepping out as the association, a bit of trepidation because, you're just trying the best you can. But over the years, I believe the show has blossomed fabulously. It's been a great source of knowledge for the viewership, and very much grateful to the team for the great work that has been done over the years. So I think it's a bit more of a comfort zone now,
So when we started this eons ago, it feels like that because when you're in a pandemic, it's like, what is that slotted time? It's like, what was that time about? But, I remember you discussed with me your first encounter with money, and we discussed the importance of financial literacy. So it's a couple years now, and a lot of people are seeing money differently, making a lot of changes as it relates to jobs and being able to be fulfilled. So why do you think it's important, even more important now, to be financially literate and to log into these conversations to make sure that you have a healthy relationship with money?
Yes. I think the pandemic kind of brought to bear a lot of, I guess, our own concerns, issues. It really tested the markets. You saw how fragile certain systems are, like the distribution system globally. That hasn't even returned. You're seeing, how it impacted inflation and all these different things. And sometimes, when you go through these challenges, you realize maybe the buffers that you felt you had or the safeguards that you felt you had, they weren't as, fortified as you had hoped. The pandemic challenged a lot of persons' financial circumstances. A lot of persons could not work. Their savings were depleted. Even on a more, I guess, on a different side of things, persons even started to reconsider their jobs. Do they want to be in that job? Do they want to have that level of exposure? They want to be with family more. They want to have more free time. They started to think more about their overall holistic, the totality of their life, so to speak. Some persons made the decision to move to the countryside and to be with family, and so a lot of things were tested during that time. So I think now even more, yes, the pandemic. We still have COVID around, and it's a challenging situation. But at the same time, it helped us. It should be a positive as well, because it helped us to really see how fickle some things are and the importance of other things that we may not have, had in mind all the time. So now more than ever, it's a good time to recalibrate, to think about your decisions, to understand whatever financial instruments you've invested in. Look at your relationship with money, needs versus wants, investments versus, just wants again. And really what you want to do with your life, and have more of a conscious, input into how you manage your affairs. So I think the pandemic was really good in helping to bring that mirror, up to your face for you to really assess where you're at, how things are going, where you want to be.
You're right. I have actually a few friends, some in Trinidad and some in the States, where they were questioning, what am I really doing?
Yeah.
Do I want to continue doing this? Because we really were forced to sit and think, which is for very hard now. We're in an age of social media where we're always distracted. So I definitely see that. Shout out to Cheryl. Good morning to you as well on LinkedIn. Thanks for joining us today on Straight Off the Bat. So, since the inception of this show, I've always played the devil advocate. I have to represent the people.
Yes.
And for those who may be watching this going, you guys are just talking financial literacy because you want me to keep my money in the bank. What say to you to that person where they feel, well, your information isn't necessarily for me?
Well, the bank is definitely much safer to keep your money than under your mattress, that's for sure. That security that you may not have in your home is catered for through the system. So, but I would never say that is the only, instrument or the only place that you should put your money. There are other options out there, people do it. I believe, you never put all your eggs in one basket, because as the pandemic would have shown you things, and even there have been other times throughout history where you see the fragility of the system. So I would say, and of course you can also see what worked and did not work, what stood the test of time. I think the banking sector, not to be biased, but I think the banking sector is one of those things that one of those institutions that have withstood a lot of different shocks over the years. So it is one of the safer places. But then there are also other options. People invest in a mixed bag of goods. You have real estate. They look at other investment portfolios, some within the bank, some within other institutions. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't want to dictate where persons invest their money, but there are other options to look at. So the banking sector offers one very secure option, but it's not the only option.
But that was like my first experience with money. Very, very first experience.
I've been in banking since I was a teenager.
So let's shift the conversation to, the Global Money Week.
Yes.
In terms of that initiative, what was the purpose of Global Money Week program from BATT?
Well, Global Money Week, it's an initiative that started a couple years ago with different stakeholders, the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman being at the helm, but BATT is very integral in the rollout of this program. We've been doing it for several years, and it is basically an annual financial awareness campaign targeted towards the youth. So every year, at the end of the first quarter, thereabout, we have been having these sessions throughout Trinidad and Tobago, and we have the participation of different schools. Before the pandemic, it was more of a face-to-face type interaction. So it would be like a real campaign. We'd have tents, and in Trinidad and Tobago, we'd have competitions. We will have, but all the competitions are geared towards financial literacy, teaching children how to be entrepreneurs, teaching them how to plan a business, how to put things in place to assess what are needs versus wants, whether it be personal or to geared towards the business. So it's very targeted around financial literacy, but we have been trying to make it very interactive in form of games, prizes, competitions, quizzes, and we have been having a real success because this caters to hundreds of children throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Every year it's a different theme. This year the theme was build your future, be smart about money. And last year's theme was take care of yourself, take care of your money. And then we've had other themes the years prior. But during the pandemic, we did not stop. We basically, we're in a digital age. These kids had to go on to online school, and they are very comfortable and familiar with the technology. So we put the road show on the technology too. So last year and this year was both virtual. It spanned over 1 week. Well, every year it spans over a week of different activities, and we basically connected with the kids virtually. Last year we had Rudy as the host. This year as well, we also this year had the general manager of Youth Business Trinidad and Tobago, who did a business canvas modeling session with the kids. And they had to do a 20-minute pitch of an agricultural business, but using the business canvas model. So very interactive, and we've always had great participation, and it's actually one of my favorite times of the year and one of my favorite activities that rolls out, because it's so exciting especially during the pandemic last year in 2021, the energy I got through those screens. We had massive monitors, but we're seeing hundreds of faces, and the energy I got, it almost drove me to tears, because it was so great to see how involved they were, how much these children know. We think children don't have all the information, but these children were very brilliant, had a lot of information, and they were very happy to be a part of the activity.
That sounds like something I wish, when I had in school to be aware, because this is a global initiative. So people all around the world are also, having these events and sharing awareness to the importance of money management. So if you are a parent watching this, how can you get your child involved for next year?
Well, you can stay tuned on the BATT website, also on the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman website, and then Global Money Week there's the global website as well. So you can also go on the Global Money Week website, and you will see the activities that they do across the globe, because we are part of a bigger initiative. So you will see what they're doing in other countries, you will see games, you will see resources, you will see things that you can probably roll out in your own school, as part of, some sort of curriculum to teach kids, or in your home. So there are different avenues where you can access the information.
Good afternoon. If anyone is hearing me out there, send a wave, please. Just show me the money sign. Let's do so. Let's do this. if you understand what money is, just do so. Jada know what money is, yeah? Yeah. All right, Rihanna, yeah.
So this year, Global Money Week's theme is Build Your Future and be smart about money. Who is excited to probably buy their first car or to have their first car? How you gonna get that car? You're hoping mommy or daddy probably, help you out there, right? I'm really grateful to my stepfather for instilling in us values of saving your pennies. So all these little pennies and 10 cents and stuff like that you see kicking all over the place? Right, we from as young as 6, 7, we were taught to save these things, and he gave us all. We didn't have fancy cash pans then, we had tins, Clim tin and whatever you want. So we saved those pennies, and every end of the month, he would take us to the bank to put it into an account. At 21, 22, around there, I got my first job and I needed a vehicle. And I wasn't sure how I was going to get a vehicle. And when I went to the bank, I had enough money to pay cash the 10% on a brand new Honda Civic from the dealership. I went straight to the dealership. I couldn't even drive the car out. I had to get a friend to drive it out for me because I still needed some more practice. And I bought my Honda Civic.
My money, haha. My money, haha.
I would just like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Bevan Cook from the Rotary Club and his team for playing an instrumental role in having the students of Bishops with us today. I would also like to thank the principal and teachers of the school for working with Mr. Cook to make today's session possible. It's always a delight to see your faces. I know the circumstances we're under.
First 5 students, post your selfie, getting a prize for that. Right, so it's a $200 voucher for KFC. You watch Mr. Grant now? Nah, I gotta take a selfie though. Nah, look Mr. Grant taking his selfie one time. And watch now, ketchup included all here. Yeah.
If you join us from Facebook, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I am your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the Community with Kelly Bute-Seaton, and she is the Executive Director of Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, more commonly known as BATT, and she's in charge of coordinating all the joint activities within the banking sector. And with over a decade of experience, we want to tap into her wealth of knowledge and really understand and give us some tools as to how we're going to have this money conversation across different age groups. So let's welcome back Kelly. And we were discussing the Global Money Week program before, but we have a question from Roger. And it's a question that I think a lot of people within the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, can, because we've seen the comments over the last couple of months when we have this live show, how engaged people get when we talk about having that discussion with our parents and recommendations for, that difficult conversation about mortality and going beyond just a will.
Well, I mean, their wills and trust, and then Nicole had spoken about, the whole aspect of power of attorney and so forth. But I mean, there are other instruments as well. There are annuities, and there are life insurance policies, and there are indemnity plans that you can, I know like certain credit unions and some insurance agencies, they have different instruments that they can use. If it is, the question is geared towards other instruments they can use to save money or leave money. You have these other instruments that they can tap into. In terms of having that conversation with them, well, that is something you really have to work on and gauge with your parents based on their readiness. Now, that readiness as they get older may never really come, but sometimes you just have to sit them down and talk about some of the options available, understand what they have, and you can do this with the guidance of an officer or an agent, but that you trust from one of these private institutions like the insurance company or the bank. If you have your own agent, you can sit down and have those conversations with them present as well, and they can give some guidance. Or if I guess a lawyer may not go into the elements of investment plans, but somebody that you trust that can also sit with you and have that conversation with them on how they make plans or prepare themselves. I'm not sure if I answered the question properly, but it's something that would require some investigation, and it's unique based on, I think, every different circumstance.
I can definitely relate to that because, as sometimes as adults dealing with parents, you really do have to understand there comes a point in time where you just have to close the door, and it's just not going to happen. And that's a difficult conversation to have. And unfortunately, neither of us have a PhD to further that conversation in that medical field. So let's shift to the age group that is more than likely to be more agile to have that discussion. So when it comes to the Global Money Week program, let's say someone who is taking their time off of TikTok to join this conversation, what ultimate piece of advice for young persons would you have about them managing money?
I would say the first things first is to sit down and think a bit. Like, it's good to dream. So sit down and think, what do I want to do, in the future? What do I want to do? What do I want to be professionally? What areas will I like to study? Think about these things and it would be a good one to have a conversation with your parents to find out, how can you get there? Some parents, they aren't financially able, depending on what your plans are, to get you there. So it may be one where, okay, from this young age, we start thinking of how to save, what types of loans or things are available that can help you to study those areas of interest to you. In my case, my parents I had to do loans, right? So, but that conversation happened from a very early age. I realized that because I was the eldest of many, and I realized that, I needed to start to put things in place, and we were very honest about it to make sure that at least I can get through that first degree. So that's one thing, to have that conversation with your parents in terms of what you want to do, and then start looking at how you can save, where you can save from. I get an allowance weekly. I can do certain chores. I can do a little business. Like I knew two little girls, and they sold muffins at school, and one made bracelets, right? And they got little allowance from that. So where can you, what areas do you have that you can start saving? Maybe family members might chip in, to help you to start saving. And then make a budget of my wants versus my needs. What do I want and can do without? What do I really need? Can I borrow this instead of buying it? Can I share with somebody else instead of buying it? So what do you want versus what you need? And you spend your money on your needs, right? And then, you just try to spend less overall. And it's a good idea not to keep your savings in your piggy bank or those things for too long, because sometimes it tempts you. Sometimes it tempts your parents. So it's better put that money in a saving account, right? I'm not going to say where. There are different options of where you can save, but put your money in a savings account, and every month. You can check in on it. It's exciting after a while and even addictive as you see your money growing, or you see every time you put your money in, wow, I have more and I have more. And it gives you an, encouragement to continue. And, I gave you my example of when I bought my first car. That was the ultimate gratification, I started saving at age 7, but children can start way before that. And that savings mushroomed to a level where I did not have to take a loan for my down payment. And then because I could buy my car, brand new car, and pay my first year insurance because I had the saving, I was able to get the job that I wanted, right? Because part of that job coming out of university meant that I needed to have a proper working car. So I was able to get the job. I told them I would get a car in 2 weeks, which I did. And because of that, you got other opportunities open up to you for training, for travel, and so forth. So really setting yourself up from now to be, in a better place financially later on. It's never too early. The earlier you start, the better off you are. It really helps to set you up in life to manage your affairs better. And that's the advice I would give.
We have a couple minutes left and we want to talk about the future. A lot of us, money is part of the future, but in the context of BATT, what are some of the initiatives that we can look forward to next year? Because we're hearing Christmas songs, so that means New Year's is, Mariah Carey has said it's official, so then Christmas is here. To the unfortunate dismay of Martha Stewart, who thinks that Thanksgiving should be had first. But anyways, 2023 is around the corner. What can we look forward to for BATT?
Sure. Well, as I had mentioned earlier, we do have our Global Money Week, which is one of our annual events at the end of the first quarter of every year. So next year we will have our Global Money Week, and we're hoping that it can be grander. And this time, as opposed to the last 2 years and back to when it first started, we can probably have more face-to-face interaction with the youths and the audience. So we have that. Then we have, of course, our bi-monthly newsletter, which we send out to our stakeholders. We've been doing a great job there. We also have Financial Literacy Month, which is usually in April. So we will be having some outreach to customers, not sure of how it will be executed then, whether it will be as in the past through the banking halls or if it will be virtual. Then we are doing a project called Break the Silence with UE. It's going to be launched at the end of the month, where we look at tools and ways to assist with ending child sexual violence. It's not the typical financial literacy type thing that we do, but it is an issue that we need to address and need all hands on deck. And then we will continue our work with SMEs. We are graduating a cohort of 120 SMEs from the Tobago startup program that we just did in Tobago. And we'll be continuing that program of financial literacy, business planning for SMEs in Trinidad and Tobago. So, and then of course we have a few other initiatives with other stakeholders, the TTPS dealing with women, vulnerable women, and financial literacy for them. We've done other work with vulnerable women as well. We'll continue to do our work with youth and youth entrepreneurship. And when I say youth, this also extends down to the elementary school level as well, all standard 3 and stuff. So it's not just the teenage years, but we start as young as the mid-elementary level. And we have many other initiatives targeted towards the youth, SMEs, our stakeholders, the customers in general, that are cited for next year.
And just to let everybody know, all these things that were discussed, you can get it sent directly to your inbox once you sign up for the newsletter. Don't worry, there's no work on your part. Once you sign up, we make sure everything comes to your inbox without any effort from you. So you'll be fine. Head over to the comment section. So, let's close off this session with, some positive insight as to what do you feel in terms of what we're looking at for the next coming years when it comes to a lot of information's out there. Yes, there's the one side of social media where it can be a little toxic. You're sitting down. I had a friend message me yesterday. She's like, Pauline, 2 hours. 2 hours on Instagram. And I was like, girl, awareness is key. Awareness is key. And then you have to make that change, right? But on the other side, you also have access to information that you never had before. So with that knowledge, how can we positively direct that energy to a future that, retirement isn't this, I don't know what I'm doing after I reach 75 versus, hey, I'm going to jump on a plane and just live my best life. So any advice, suggestions, and insight from your part?
Yeah. Well, someone, like I would always hear the saying, I don't know if they say it now, but long time, they used to say, you pay the old man first when you get paid, right? Now, I had a grandmother who used to say, you work hard, so every month do something for yourself. But outside of that, I'd hear a person say, pay the old man first. Meaning, basically you have a budget. You have a budget. Going forward, have a budget. Yes, you want to live your best life, but this pandemic showed us what really is your best life, right? Is it buying every piece of material thing that will then degrade into the dust and then you have nothing afterwards? Or is it really just looking at your life as a person, right? Your spirituality, your emotional health, your relationships, your mental health, your educating your mind, your physical body, exercising, eating well, things like that. So what really is this concept of your best life? If you follow social media, it will give you, honestly, I believe, a very warped concept of what your best life is. So you need to sit down as an individual and determine what really are your goals and what you want for your future. Form a plan around it. Form a budget around it. Be realistic, right? Forget the Kardashians and these people. Be realistic and basically manage your life around that. And also, I think it's important to have, not to be complacent, but to be content as well. Because what works for somebody else may not be the right thing for you. And you have to really be true to what, your sense of happiness is and where that lies. So I think, form your budget, make your plan, have a plan around it, live within your means, have a goal while you're looking at life today and, just managing life today. Keep one eye on the other eye on the future. What do you want that future to be? Where do you want to be? Don't plan that you're going to die young, so use everything now. But where do you want to be when you're in your 60s and 70s and 80s and so forth? So plan towards that as well. Some now, some then, and also bearing in mind that your relatives, if you have children and so forth, what do you want to leave for them, and you plan towards that. So I would say going forward, we have to live life very consciously. It can't be where you're just an active bystander in the play of your entire life. You have to just be very conscious in and deliberate going forward, because it's interesting times.
Thank you so much for that, Kelly. Just want to confirm. So reality TV isn't real, is what you're saying. I just want to confirm that.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Pauline, and blessings to all the viewers today. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. So thanks again to Kelly for joining us today and sharing insight into the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago and the community. Don't forget to sign up and be notified for our next live show via the link in the comments. And as always, be sure to like and follow our page on LinkedIn so you don't miss a single live show. Thanks again so much for joining us, and I'll see you soon. Bye.